Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again with a bit more of an update on the Deadeye Ice Spear that I played through to level 95 on the event for Sentinel and Calandra. By the time it ended, I got to level 95 and it was a little scary knowing that there's 50% XP on every death negative, so I had to play it a bit more safe than I usually would have liked to, but the character did get through to 95 while having pretty much 4k life, no suppress and no other crazy defenses or anything, just really freeze in the end. So I'll just talk a bit about the character and also the next event that started, just go over what the event is and what I'm playing there at the moment too, and then hopefully in another day or two I'll have a video on Animate Weapon, which is a build I started on the main league, and then I have to go AFK for a couple weeks for a trip. But I'll go over that in the other video, I think, as well. In any case, the Deadeye Ice Spear here, since last time, did do a bit of a revamp that I said it was going to do, and that is go through to Eldritch Battery, so that you no longer have to take care of mana. The process in doing that is basically just getting a chest that a trickster would typically use that has a lot of evasion and a lot of energy shield, and that pretty much takes care of your energy shield pool, and just spec into Eldritch Battery and you will have about 1,000 energy shield, and that is pretty much sustainable for all of your Ice Spear casting. It might require a bit more work if you've got a lot of cast speed into some recharge and stuff, or even more energy shield, but for the most part it is enough, and it is comfortable enough to start mapping and not caring about mana ever again. Also lets you reserve all of your mana, and a lot of the footage back here is going to have accelerate shrines and stuff because I was playing with shrines pretty much all of the time for this event, but you can see that the DPS for Guardians and general gameplay was pretty decent off of a character that costs, you know, maybe a couple of divines or some shit total. It ended up being a pretty decent character, a very nice starter. It did use Heatshiver in the end, which enables Trinity and enables a lot of extra damage on freeze, which you, in this current form of the build, will not be getting on Uber bosses. So as you can see, Trinity is basically always up, and things getting frozen is a huge defense on this build, and that'll still happen even without Heatshiver. But once you get to proper endgame stuff, the Ubers, you pretty much won't be freezing anything or getting Trinity up. So I did a lot of four-ways sort of things, as you can see with this one here, with various map mods, and it is still completely fine. Obviously you can see I'm taking a lot of damage and stuff, but I just did not really put a whole bunch of money into this and have very well-rounded defenses. Ideally you would have spell suppress, maybe a bit more life as well, but currently for this build setup situation, this is all I could manage off of the budget and the time frame that I had, and you will probably be dying to some one-shots here or there pretty routinely. So in the end I managed to try Uber Maven, given that it's the league I have almost nothing to work with. I managed to try Uber Maven and Uber Shaper, and this is a Mavened Uber Shaper. The Uber Maven itself just went horribly, and I'll go over that in a sec as well, but the Uber Shaper with Maven influence meant that I was getting like an extra fucking 3 Shaper clones every now and again, and that's pretty crazy. It was hard to deal with, but absolutely manageable in the end, just with a nice playstyle that we had. But given that the character has basically no recovery, no spell suppress, it certainly needs more for Ubers. The POB that you can look at for the character right now, it's good enough for almost everything, but once you get to Ubers, you definitely want to be at another level of build, and that is pretty much without Heatshiver. So instead of having a scuffed 5th and 6th link and stuff, and no Trinity, you're just much more cold based. You'd have an actual helm enchant, you'd have spell suppress in various places, and you'd also have double damage focus on your weapon and shield, and as well as that, new gloves, because the southbound gloves obviously aren't doing that much by that point, and you can have cast speed focus, you can have good implicits. So this is some of the Maven that was happening, and for my character's playstyle, basically I needed twice as much damage or a good bunch of extra thickness, and realistically it's just a bunch more damage that we needed. So my character with Trinity and Heatshiver is at about 20 million DPS, and that's the type of DPS you would see against Guardians and regular gameplay. But against Ubers, cut that in half. So at most it'll have 10 million DPS because of no Trinity, no Heatshiver, so it's pretty detrimental. And I think with a really well built Ice Spear that has focus and cold pen and stuff, you will have back up to 20 million DPS. So you don't need Heatshiver, you just need to work at the character, min-max it with the right gear, and then you'll just be full cold and viable against endgame, I believe. So yeah, tried against Maven a few times, and it's terrible. It sucks, it hurts, but is what it is. Great character for everything else, good starter. You will just need a snake pit to truly enjoy the process, but until then, just Pierce is fine as well. And with that, I'll just log into the current new event and just show you what my plan is for a little bit of leveling there. So there's not really a huge amount to say here because the character I've picked to play for this new event, Shifting Stones, is a Scion mstorm. Now, I've done that before as a Scion in the past as kind of a starter build, and essentially all it is Exsanguinate. So there it is, Exsanguinate, and eventually Cyclone with Castwell Channel. It should be a nice starter, and it should be something that goes well off of pretty little gear. But the event itself that is now happening is something that there's just different mods from like endgame Atlas stuff all over the game at the moment. So as you can see, this one lets you be possessed by ghosts, and it's a pretty fun event. Like, it is fairly worth logging into and at least getting to your level 50 for your mystery box, because yeah, some pretty cool stuff can happen. This is probably the coolest of the stuff that can happen, getting possessed by ghosts and getting a lot more loot. Basically, there will be a lot more loot throughout the entire game, throughout the campaign for you, just because of these little mods on every single map, zone, interaction, and it's on rotation for every 15 minutes as well. So all these zones are going to feel pretty different, and they've got like a random Atlas keystone happening that just changes the way things happen. So it's pretty fun and fairly worth doing. But like I said, what I'm doing is Cumstorm, which is Exsanguinate. So pick up Exsanguinate, attach like efficacy early on, and then we're into cruelty and controlled destruction. You start running corrupting fever, and I do have an actual template for that as well, way from the past ago. What league was this even in? Sentinel. So back from Sentinel, this is a starter here. Basically what we're doing is just doing this. Ignore all of that, and you're just speccing into this sort of stuff. You don't even really need a POB, you can just look at this, and yeah, that's all you're really doing. Specking this stuff, and eventually, yes, if you take it further, you can do things like this and then turn it into a real build. But it's just going to be Cyclone with Castwell Channel attached to Exsanguinate, and then you are spinning and creating a storm of cum. So yeah, that's the build, that's the little plan. It starts out pretty slow. Exsanguinate doesn't do much damage early on, but once you've picked up a few of these nodes and get like a 3 and a 4 link, then it starts to do some pretty good damage and sustain well enough. And yeah, that's just all I'm doing. Just specking this stuff, specking that, going down here, going out there. And now with the event, you can get clusters pretty easily, so attaching an actual cluster to the build will be pretty doable just for the leveling purposes and stuff. And it should be fun to go through as a quick little side event. And I think they really should have started with this event, because the Krangle is just awful to like try and navigate, and loses a lot of hype for the events, I'd say. Should have started with this one or the other one, and then shit, maybe even done something completely different for Krangle. Either way, this is the event, pretty fun. And Ice Spear Deadeye, once again, good for everything. Can do these events, can do starters, etc., and can be something in the new league. But I'm sure the new league will be something much bigger with more new shit, so you probably wouldn't need to start an Ice Spear Deadeye, because there's going to be some other new stuff happening. I don't know, buffs, nerfs, revamps, new skills, who the fuck knows. Hopefully that all happens. New league is called Affliction, by the way, if you missed it somehow, and it will be on December 8th. December 30th is when the November 30th is when the reveal is. That's like a bit over a week from now, and I won't be around for it, I don't think, just because I will be in Korea with my friends, taking basically my first vacation in like 10 years. I might do a bit of streaming from there, but I can't promise anything. We'll just see how things work out. But for all intents and purposes, it is a bit of a vacation to check out another place and do a bunch of climbing there with my climbing friends. So, yeah, that's currently this event, and hopefully in a couple days I'll have a video on animate weapon, because I've been trying to build that, but it's been very stop-starty with these events. We'll see how we go. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.